You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers and their quest for Gamecast stardom.
AKA worthlessly lazy, but so game crazy.
This is episode 75, and I am Church of the Game Grinder, and as always, joined by my excellent co-host,
Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming. How's everyone doing tonight?
What's up, folks?
Tons of shit.
What an exciting last couple weeks, huh?
Abso-fucking-lutely. It has been great.
And I think a lot of that is going to be what we talk about today.
All of it. Every detail.
Yeah, probably. Pretty close. What are we talking about?
Well, obviously motherfucking E3.
What?
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody's not sick of E3 stuff yet, because
I don't care. I want to talk about it anyway.
yeah.
We don't have a backup plan. We basically have to.
Like, oh shit, everybody else already talked about E3. What do we do?
That's why we don't do the podcast live. People would be like, nope, start over. So yeah. It's basically what we're talking about, and a new release that we've both been playing is our fallback plan.
Yeah. It
So-
sounds good.
So since we're pretty much gonna get right into it, what you been up to? Even though I pretty much know what you've been up to because I was there.
Yeah. Well, as you have had the more exciting last couple weeks, knock my piddly stuff out of the way here. Lots of games.
Shit.
Knocked out a few. Trover Saves the Universe VR game. Highly recommend it for anybody who has VR. I've heard that you can play it without VR, but I wouldn't recommend it.
That sounds like poor people things to do.
But it's fantastic. Trover Saves the Universe is, I keep saying it's Astrobot, but with Justin Roiland humor of Rick and Morty fame. It's in that style. It's not Rick and Morty. This game, I think, kind of pushes some further boundaries that they kind of haven't done with Rick and Morty. I mean, Rick and Morty's like a little out there, a little edgy and whatnot, but kind of like turns that up to 11 on this one, and it is funny. The game is fun. It's one of my favorite VR experiences. VR games. It's I think it took me like 6-7 hours to get through.
Perfect.
So,
yeah, I gotta get into it. I picked it up on my way back home. I grabbed that and Blood and Truth. So I got some heavy VR to do in the next couple of weeks.
What else? Planescape Torment. I played through that, as that is the Quick Save Club's PC game of the month for June. Quick Save Club being the kind of like a offshoot bonus, not exactly Cartridge Club, but part of the Cartridge Club, as all the members are, along kind of like what they're doing with the game of the month. But they want to do
affiliate.
Yeah. They want to do give focus to some classic PC games because they're more often than not ignored these days. So that's been pretty cool. Planescape Torment.
That's awesome. But why didn't they wait a couple months till like the remasters are put on PS4? Then I could have gladly taken part.
Good point. Well, they had picked the game before the announcements happened, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
It's called, there's this thing called the CC effect for the Cartridge Club. Every time the Cartridge Club starts doing or announces like a game that they're covering for a month, a lot of times that game goes on sale, which is, it's pretty consistent. It's very interesting.
Sweet. It's like the reverse of Metal Jesus Hidden Gems.
Yeah, basically. And, funny enough, I bought Planescape Torment on on Steam, and then it was like a few days later, it went on sale on GOG. It's like,
ass.
Whatever. But yeah, Planescape Torment, classic CRPG. Kind of think in the realm of Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights. It's a isometric RPG based in the Planescape universe of Dungeons and Dragons. Very experimental game in a way, I guess, where they really take the action and put it in the back seat. And the best part about this game, which makes it as good as everybody says it is the writing, the descriptive dialogue. Because like every time you talk, like you click on an NPC, first thing you get is like a paragraph of like a description, like what they're doing, what they react like when you approach them. Like conversations are just like robust. Like there's so much depth to the story.
Well, really, who doesn't love that backseat action?
Yeah, right. So yeah, great game. Totally agree. It's not, I wouldn't say it's the like best for me, but it was awesome.
I love my isometric RPGs, so that's why I'm eagerly anticipating the 3 titles that they're putting out.
Right. Yeah. What else? Kendo Rage. I beat Kendo Rage on the Super Nintendo. Kind of like a side scroller action adventure game. Has some great character. Has some cool animation and sprite work, but that doesn't really make up for kind of the lack of the gameplay itself. It's kind of a weak game.
Bummer.
But I enjoyed it. It's a hard recommend. For anybody else, unless they like get it really, really cheap or something.
Pass it along then, I guess.
Yeah. I also played through Tacoma, which is a walking sim FPX game. Very cool game. It's basically you go to the space station and investigate like what happened to the crew, and kind of how you interact with the different areas is like there's an AI that like records stuff. So when you enter an area, it'll give you like, here's a section of a few days ago that you can like play through, and like you'll see the characters like images or like static versions of the characters show up, and you can like play and rewind and fast forward in real time. Like
cool.
And follow them around through like each area to see like the conversations and like the things they are interacting with. Very cool game.
Kind of sounds like the detective mode things on Arkham.
Yeah, in a way, definitely. It was just a little bit more robust, I guess. I know that's kind of a
tread lightly about Batman.
Yeah. Right. But then other than that, you came down before you went to E3.
Yeah, before I flew to LA, I stayed the night, and because I flew out from the cities.
Yeah, and we both you brought down your Pandora stick that you've talked about before. Basically, you've been beating all your beat 'em ups and stuff on as of late.
Oh yeah.
And we played through Dungeons and Dragons Tower of Doom, which was really cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Unique beat 'em up. You can kind of choose your path, sort of thing, and do you want to help these people, or do you want to tell them to screw off and get a life and
down
and drink?
And really cool. I've always heard good things about it. Next up is what is it, Chronicles of Mystaria, or what the hell is it called?
Shadow over Mystaria.
Yeah, there you go.
Chronicles of Mystaria is the collection of both games for last gen systems.
Yeah. And then we played through Shock Troopers as well, which was pretty sweet. Kind of like not isometric, but it's like
sort of almost.
Almost like isometric Metal Slug.
Kind of close. Yeah, I'd say it's closer to that than like Ikari Warriors.
Ikari Warriors.
Sort of like that. It comes highly recommended for me. But yeah, there's a couple games like that on the stick, and I got pretty far in it, but I never beat it until we played it, so that was cool. It's one of those games where I was playing, I'm like, I'd like to play this with someone else. So I was thinking I'd probably just end up playing it with Araya or something, but I'm glad that we beat it together. It was a lot of fun. Hell yeah.
But then other than that, been playing some Bloodstained, and I think we'll kind of hold off Bloodstained discussion for a few minutes here.
Yeah.
Make that its own thing.
It deserves its own thing.
Yes.
As far as what I've been up to, obviously I went to E3, so that's going to be the bulk of our discussion today, so I'm going to hold off on that too. But while it was actually almost before I even got there, in the airport and on the plane, I beat like 95% of Mega Man 11, and then the night I got there, I beat the rest of it. So that's basically my game, besides the ones we beat at your house that I beat since last time. So yeah, it was good to get some Switch time in. I seem to kind of ignore my Switch. I keep getting games for it, but I don't know if I'm coming to just sit in the game room. I usually just flip on the PS4 or the Xbox One. So
gotta remember to take it in the can with you.
I'm in and out. No, that's a lie. If you ask my wife, she's like, "He's always in there." So yeah, it's it's one of those things. Like, I still to this day have never hooked it up to the TV. It's right under the TV, could easily be plugged right in there, but I always have played it in handheld mode. I'm not saying I never play it. It's just compared to like the PS4, especially, it's just like collecting dust. It seems like sometimes I almost forget I have it until I'm going somewhere. Then I bring it, and then I end up not playing it because usually when I'm going somewhere, I'm driving, and then when I get there, I'm too tired to play anything. I just go to sleep. So it was cool to not have to drive for like a week and get to play some games. I got pretty close on a couple others. I played some Nightmare Boy and stuff like that. I actually played a bit of the other Bloodstained game on the Switch while I was waiting.
Curse of the Moon.
You bet.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna run through that again before this one came out, but then I got an error while I was playing it. So I was like, oh, okay then. So it crashed, and I was like, huh. And then it tells me, well, there's an update. I was like, so you knew there was an update when there was an internet connection, yet you did not update it. Thank you. So I had a little bit of sour grapes for that.
Yeah.
It updated a whole bunch of other stuff, so I was like, damn it. But yeah, that's cool.
So let's jump into the retro game highlight. Last time I had talked about Metal Gear Solid, one of my favorite games of all time.
It's good you brought it up. I'd never heard of that, so it's kind of
cool.
Some light on those lesser known titles.
Spreading the love, maybe introducing somebody to a hidden gem, as they call them.
Diamond in the rough. Yeah.
So, what you got for us this time?
I'm going to go with some Golden Axe Warrior for the Sega Master System.
Damn.
A lot of people, when they think of Golden Axe, they think of the other Golden Axe games, the beat 'em ups. But this game's more like a good Zelda clone, and I can't say enough good stuff about it. It's one of the priciest Master System games, but if you can get a hold of it, I say go for it, because I got it on a deal, but it still kind of cost me a few bucks, but I don't regret it one bit. So yeah, if you like Zelda and you have a Master System, snatch that shit up.
Pretty much my most desired Master System game that I don't have.
Yeah,
want it.
I want all the Master System games in my belly.
It's doable. It's not a huge library. Unfortunately, only a few of the games are expensive.
Yeah, I never seem to find, like, at MGC, I was like, oh, I'm going to beef up the Master System. I found nothing I didn't have again. 2 years in a row.
All the same. It's always the same stuff. It's always like...
It's Lewis. That's what it is. Lewis from the Minnesota group. Snatching up all the Master System games.
Probably.
Yeah. So I said next year I'm game hunting with him so I can find some Master System shit.
That works.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk about some Bloodstained.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I guess for anybody who wouldn't be familiar, this was the crowd-funded game by Koji Igarashi, who is most well known for Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and then the other Igavanias for like the GBA and DS, like Aria Sorrow. I don't know, Portrait of Rune.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. All super great. 4 years ago, he went to Kickstarter to make this game. There's, been some bumps in the road, but they've been very communicative about the campaign and how development's been going.
It wasn't a sketchy, like, oh, just haven't heard anything in a year. Are they still doing it, or did they just take off with my money?
Yeah, constant updates, and surprisingly enough, took criticism to heart, and even went back and made changes to the game, like sweeping changes to the game based on feedback.
They even called themselves in the trailer poopy graphics.
And yeah, so it is now available. So you can purchase it if you haven't, if you didn't back it.
Like, honestly, though, why are you even listening to this? You should just be playing it right now. While listening to this in the background, I guess. But
yeah, I could roll with that. It's pretty great.
That music's pretty good, though. So you might want to turn us down pretty low while you hear that music.
Yeah. So
appreciate you being here, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. But essentially, it's just a spiritual successor to those games. And thus far, what I've seen, it's delivering. I got about 7 hours in at this point. How about you?
I'm about between 4.5 and 5.
I've been doing a lot of, well, not a lot, but I've been doing like a little bit of grinding and just kind of like exploration, like purposely going as far in the wrong direction as I can kind of stuff. Well, yeah. So I mean, what are your thoughts?
I call that just playing the game.
Yeah. Well, straight up.
I go as far as I can in any direction I'm not supposed to go. You're apparently in this game, you're not supposed to go any direction because there's always something trying to stop you. But I'm absolutely in love with it. Like, I told myself the age-old lie of, I'll just switch it on for a few seconds after I installed it, and then I got to get going on some video stuff, and zero video stuff got worked on.
Yeah.
But a lot of fun was had. And yeah, it's just good. It feels just like I'm playing Castlevania, so I can't complain in really any way. It's just something that's been sorely missed for several years now.
Yeah.
Because even the last few Castlevania games that came out weren't the classic style. I still enjoyed them, but they weren't classic style Castlevania. So definitely good to see like a return to form. Like I said, not that there was a problem with the other ones. It's just when you want Castlevania, you're thinking of Castlevania, not, Devil May Cry-ish.
Well, and some people kind of separate it too, because you have your like Castlevania 1, Super Castlevania. People tend to call those classic Vanias, and then these ones are like the Igavanias or Metroidvanias.
Yeah, I don't know. I like them. I like both styles, and I just lump them together because I'm fine. Because I mean, the older ones, I know there wasn't much branching paths or shit you could do, but I don't know. It's all Castlevania to me. I just play in general.
And unfortunately, I never played any of the handheld ones myself yet. I'm not much of a handheld player. I want to get them, and I would like to play them eventually.
Do it.
So I haven't seen a lot of the, I guess, additional refinements and kind of added things that have been added to these games since Symphony of the Night. I've played through Symphony of the Night multiple times, 210%, whatever.
I can't even think of any of those that aren't good games because I have all of them. The only one I'm missing now is the expensive Game Boy one and the legit Rondo of Blood. But I've enjoyed everyone I played. I'd say I think I might be wrong here, but I think it was Circle of the Moon. I thought it was like the weakest of the Game Boy Advance ones, but even then it was good. So
Yeah.
I feel bad that I just called it out, but probably my least favorite Castlevanias are probably the other two original Game Boy ones that I have. But even then, they're, it is what it is. It's kind of what you'd expect on an original Game Boy.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Art style looks cool. I dig kind of. I mean,
I like there's actual cutscenes and stuff too.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, it's pretty much what we're used to, except they're doing the 3D characters instead of the pixel art, which I know some people really wanted the pixel art. Personally, I wanted the pixel art, but this looks good.
Yeah,
I'm not really complaining at all.
Yeah, it's not really bad. Some of the characters are kind of lame, honestly. Some of them just kind of like, okay, they're not like hurting the game any, but
like the support characters.
Yeah, some of them are just
kind of
like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna skip through this shit. But there's others that you're like, oh, this guy's kind of cool, or someone will look cool, and I don't know. You run into a lot of characters which I like. It's not just like the people at your base, and then you go kill your way through everything, and then go back and talk to them. Like, I don't know. So
yeah, and that's
that way it breaks it up a bit too.
That's another part that was kind of cool. Is I don't know if the other ones had this, but kind of having like sort of like a base to work out of.
No, I
you got some NPCs you can interact with. You can buy some things, craft things, get some quests. I think that's pretty cool.
I think one or two of them had like a little town you could go to, but not really like a hub or like something like that. But yeah, I really like that. And there's like the side quests, nothing too challenging that I've run across yet.
The shard system's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I haven't really utilized that too much, to be honest, yet. I'm getting a shit ton of them, but I haven't really played around with them that much yet.
Yeah, so basically, for those who might not be familiar, you got your standard stuff. You get your weapons, you hit dudes, so on and so forth. But kind of like the main aspect to this one is the shard system, where as you kill enemies, you could potentially get a shard from them, basically their power, and then you can use that as an attack. And there's different types, because you can equip like 6 different ones, like 5 different styles. Some will just be like, there's like 3 magic attacks, you get a passive, and then you can get one that like gives you an ability.
And the summon ones too.
Yeah, and the summon too. Yeah, right. And as you can just like farm enemies and get a bunch of shards like of the same kind, and like increase the power of your own of that shard itself.
Yeah,
like
cool.
Like with the familiars, that's kind of what I did last night for a good chunk of time. Like I was like, screw it, I'm gonna level up this familiar a whole bunch. I probably spent like maybe 15-20 minutes just going in and out of this room, just killing the enemies, getting more shards, leveling them up. And the familiars will actually, they have a shard level, they have like a level, just a standard level that they will get from experience, and then they have a third level, which I don't really understand like how all 3 levels play in, but yeah, there's a lot to it. And I think it really allows you to figure out the kind of things you like to do, and gives you lots of options on how to do that, because then along with the shards, you have the different styles of weapons.
Yeah, you got the different magics and stuff too. It's a lot of fun. There's so many different side weapons. Like, I'm forever just picking up all these different cool weapons, sometimes armor, rings, and it plays a lot like an RPG in that way. Like RPG character stuff, you pick what they're wearing on their head, what they're wearing on their body, what they're wearing on their hands and shit. And I'm liking that a lot too. One of the better things that I got, though, I ended up giving away for part of a quest. So I was like, I whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it definitely keeps you trying out different things all the time because I've got a whole ton of different weapons so far, and I basically main 2 different weapons.
Yeah, I don't experiment enough with the weapons just because I'm really stuck in my ways. Like, I like a decently fast weapon where the big weapons do a crap ton of damage, but they have the huge swings or they're really slow.
Yeah, and if you get fast enemies around you, they'll hit you like 5 times before you can manage to swing the weapon. So I find those kind of annoying.
Or you can get like, the smaller like daggers and you attack super fast, but they don't do a lot of damage. So I try to like middle of the road, long swords. Some of the clubs were pretty decent.
Yeah,
I need to mess around more.
Yeah, I didn't.
And there's guns too.
Yeah, there's guns. I've been basically using the Morgenstern, which is like the Morning Star type thing, and the Deathbringer axe when I know what I'm expecting to fight.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something like little bats or one of those like dog things running around, like they're just gonna chew you up before you can really do a lot. But it does have a good arc to it, though. So there's like pros and cons to both. So I switch back and forth between those 2 mainly until I find something more powerful. But so far, those are mine. I used the Game Sack sword for quite a while. Actually, it was one of those. It's almost like a DLC weapon. When a game comes with DLC weapons, when you get it, it's like good for the start of the game, but then it's some games it's good for like half an hour. Then you're like, I already have something better than the pre-order DLC weapon. Lame.
Yeah.
But yeah. I like fooling around with the different stuff and checking it out. And the crafting and stuff is pretty in depth too, I think.
Yeah, and it's not annoying. Usually I'm pretty annoyed by crafting, but this it's pretty simple. There's nice gains to doing it.
Gains!
Like with the food, like every food item, the first time you eat it, you get a permanent bonus.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. So it kind of encourages you to
be snacky.
Yeah.
Speaking of snacky, there's that old lady that I didn't realize that a picture of the food that she's looking for shows up. So I thought you just because I didn't give her time to show up. So when she said, I was just like, I don't know, and I just tried like all the kinds of food I had on me, and then all of a sudden I was walking away and it showed up, and I was like, oh, she wants like the easiest food to get. Okay. But after I tried everything else, she's like, I don't think that's what I want. And I'm like, damn lady, you picky.
Yeah. And a lot of good incentives to explore too. There's some really cool Easter eggs I've kind of bumped into. I don't want to say anything right now.
Get that wall chicken.
They got the wall chicken sort of, but there's some other cool stuff. Just like a couple situations, and there's an NPC I ran into, and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. I'm catching something here.
Yeah.
For those who have the ear for it or the eye. Also, I wonder if there's something to it, but I don't know if you noticed, but in various places there's chairs you can sit.
Yeah.
And positioned differently.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
They put a lot of work into these chairs.
Yeah, I first noticed it in there's this town, and there's just this random house you walk through, and it's like a chair and a bookshelf, and you're like, huh.
Yeah, the chairs will be some will be turned sideways and you'll sit sideways. Some will be turned with the back to us, and it's interesting. One of the familiars, and I'm assuming many of the familiars probably they will respond accordingly. Like if you sit, one of the familiars I had that just floated down and started sitting on our shoulder. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. They didn't have to do that. Yeah, it's little things like that. I love little touches.
I'm sure someone with way too much time on their hands will figure out that if you sit in the chairs in the right order, it'll unlock something.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm probably not going to fuck with it that much. I'll just see when someone else does it, and I'm like,
right.
The order I got to do that in. All right.
Yeah.
So let someone else do that. Too much time on your hands, footwork.
Totally. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what extra content is available. I know, like, once you beat the game, there's like a boss rush mode, and I think there's another mode, and then like all the like there's a bunch of DLC that's going to be free that's getting released here pretty soon.
That is pretty cool. The weird thing is, though, the boss rush, isn't that just the end of a Castlevania game?
True that.
So usually you end up fighting most of the bosses again at the end of those games anyway, before you fight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to potentially like other characters and things like that.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it coincided like Curse of the Moon with a bunch of different characters.
Yeah. So we shall see.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to playing more of it. I'm really trying to hold off on it, but it's like crack.
Yeah.
Like, I really got to make some videos.
I love Albanias.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully by the next one we'll both have it beat and we can talk about it more in depth.
Totally.
I want to know who else is playing it too. Tell me how much you love it.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much everybody I've talked to is like, thumbs up.
Yeah. I had one crash, but that's my like most negative thing to say about it. Random crash, but it wasn't. I didn't lose anything vital and went right back into it and haven't run anything like that since. So that's good.
Yeah. Cool. So E3, man.
What about it?
You went to it.
Yes, I did. And at the start of the trip, it was god awful.
Yeah.
As you know.
Yeah.
We got to. Well, I was watching E3 last year pretty closely, and it just so happens that June 13th is my wife and I's wedding anniversary. And so on our anniversary, we were like just kind of hanging out, and I was catching up on some E3 stuff. And she's like, "Hey, is this like same time every year?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And she goes, "We should try and go next year for our 10-year." And I was like, "I've wanted to go since I was like 10 years old. So absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn that down in any way." And so we booked it basically about 2 weeks after last year. We started booking stuff, so we could have it paid off before we go. And we booked our place to stay a block away. We're like, awesome. Now we don't have to worry about that last minute. All that. This is going somewhere. So we get there and we go to check into our place, and lo and behold, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. What the hell?
So we're wandering around with all our luggage. We're not from the States, or our phone plans don't cover anything in the States.
So when you say it doesn't exist, like, did it close or did it never exist?
It never existed. We went to where it should have been, and we walked in, and it was like a luxury apartment place. And she's like, "No one here does like Airbnb, so it can be something like that." The lady felt so bad for us. She's like, apparently it had happened before. She's like, someone else kind of came in about a couple months ago or something like that too. And then we looked at the thing, and it looks like an address, but it literally is just like a corner basically.
Mm-hmm.
And we're wandering around. We're like, we see a police officer like, "Would you know where this would be?" And he's like, one guy pointed us down. There's a little bit of hope for a minute, and then no, that guy just must not have been from the area because he didn't know shit. We ended up just getting circles and just ending up back at the same place. And we're like, all right, well, what are we gonna do? We basically walked and we grabbed our badges, and we were among like all of the whole area around like downtown LA is just becomes E3. E3 shit is everywhere. I should have been the most hyped I've ever been probably to be somewhere, and I was more like, I don't even care. I don't even want to be here. I just want to go home now. This sucks. I just spent like $1,400 American to stay nowhere apparently. And we couldn't get a hold of the site we used, and the site we used was like one we've used a bunch. So we're like, what the hell? So we used all her data trying to figure it out. We ended up finding a Starbucks, finding a pricey hotel, which was the only place that basically had any openings that wasn't a dive within walking distance, but it was $400 a night. So we got in there, and then we're like, all right, whew, maybe we can start enjoying ourselves.
Well, and kind of the happy ending to that story is you got refunded.
Yeah, they called us the next day after. We were trying all day to get a hold of them, so it was like I was just bummed. Even when we got the place to stay, I was like, cool, we got somewhere to stay. It's $400 a night now, so
and you're out the previous money.
Yeah, so I was like, cool. So hopefully there's a lot of cool freebies, because that's about all I'm gonna have, and we can eat Pop-Tarts and chips all week. Not really that bad. We had been putting money away, but I was still like really upset.
Yeah. So
then we're like, okay, let's go and explore a bit without our luggage and being sweaty as hell and worried about where we're gonna stay tonight. And we walk around, and there's all this like cool things going around, E3 related stuff, and it was like invite only. Oh, do you have an appointment? Invite only. We're like, oh, wow. Okay. Let's go back to our hotel room then. Well, we wandered around a bit. We did some exploring and tried not going in anything else. Like even the Xbox Fan Fest, invite only. I'm like, oh, I'm an Xbox World Record holder. You think I could get invited to the fucking Fan Fest? Guess not. Yeah. I don't know how much of a fan of Xbox you got to be, but that nipped my fandom of Xbox a little bit, to be honest. So I was like, wow, everything's like really exclusive. All right. So anyway, we go to actually E3 started the day after we got there, and we went in and we went down the wrong hallway basically, because there was this one area that was almost like exclusively like a press area. So it was feeling like more of the same. Like, oh, do you have an appointment? There'd be like double doors open. You'd see all this cool shit in a room, and I thought it was something like MGC, where there's the different rooms for the different, there'd be like the indie room and the turbo room and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this is cool. And we go like walk in, they're like, oh no, sorry guys, this is invite only. And we're like, man, what a way to start it. So then we like walked out into the actual floor, and then we're like, oh, okay, this things we're allowed to do. I was like, do we pay here? Did we just pay to get like the high school experience of being like the loser kids trying to hang out at the cool party, or what? Because and I was just happy to just see some of the stuff. Anyway, my wife is not nearly as much into game stuff as I am, but she was still like pretty stoked to go and see all this stuff. And she's like, why are we here? Like, she's like, wow, is this E3? And I'm like, I hope not. Let's go look around some more. And yeah, it was it got a lot better, that's for sure. And go around looking at all the cool setups, all the cool photo ops,
massive amounts of people.
Yeah, it was pretty wall-to-wall people, but
everything with a lot of lines and whatnot too.
Oh no, not everything, just anything Nintendo related or Final Fantasy, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't even bother at all trying to like do anything Nintendo, because Nintendo had this like giant, it looked like a big box in the middle of the floor. You could see Nintendo from anywhere in the room. It's like this 2 or 3 level thing, but there's a lineup all the way around it, and it was like, and I like what I could see, because there was also like a do you have an appointment side to that too,
of course,
where you're like, it really looked like they had like 5 TVs set up with like Link's Awakening, and like 8 TVs hooked up for like Luigi's Mansion and stuff like that. And I'm like,
yeah, some neat displays and stuff too.
All the stuff that they had like inside there, like I was like, that's probably the only 2 I'd really like want to play now, because I'm I like my Zelda, and I want to check it out, but I can wait. Yeah. And at that point, I didn't know that they'd pushed it back to September. I was like, I can wait like 3 weeks till it comes out, big deal. But then I found September. I was like, I can still wait.
Yeah.
So yeah, because after her already not enjoying it too much, I didn't want to stand in any massive lines. But then there was other games that, like Trails of Cold Steel 3, I was super excited to try out. and there was one guy. So I was like, one guy. So I turned my back, and there's another thing set up in the area, and I played some Kill la Kill, which plays a lot like a Dissidia kind of fighting game, like a hack and slash fighter game. It was quite a lot of fun, and the guy was like, there's like someone there watching you to like kind of give you pointers, like, oh yeah, check this out, you try that. I mean, he'd be about to tell me something, he'd be like, oh, you got it, man. He's like, you got to do this. Oh, you got it. And that guy was like my favorite one of those people at the whole show, because it just made me laugh. So he's like, oh yeah, you got it. I was just like, right on. And then went to play Trails of Cold Steel, because they were like, oh, they knew I wanted to play, so they tapped me on the shoulder when they saw I was on the other one. They're like, we kept it for you. And I was like, sweet. Check that out. And it was kind of like that, but the girl was like, okay, yeah. And she was trying to explain it, but as you know, I've been playing the first Trails of Cold Steel quite a lot. So it played a lot like that, and a lot of the enhancements that they put into the first two games were because they were making this one. So I was pretty familiar with like how it all worked out, and she'd be like, oh, you want to try to attack? And I'd just do something different. She'd be like, wow, that worked a lot better. I'm going to start recommending that.
They're probably just trying to sell you on or talk about like new features and
basically
like sell the game.
Yeah, but like look at this pretty move. Basically, is what it was. Is like I'd try that one the next turn. I'd be like, oh, it's a pretty cool looking move, but the other one was like super effective for those guys. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to play. I think out of all of the games I played on the floor, Trails of Cold Steel 3 was my favorite. But I played quite a few. I tried out quite a few others. There was a Grand Blue Saga Fighters or something it was called.
That was Grand Blue Fantasy.
Grand Blue Fantasy, yeah. And I played that. It was kind of pretty cool. And there was
System Works fighting game like BlazBlue and Guilty Gear.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It didn't seem to have a lot of characters, but maybe it's just because it's like an early build or something. And they had like one of the photo op things was they would take your picture against the green screen and put you in a screenshot of the game, so it looked like you were fighting. So I think I sent that to you like the night I got it, because I was like, yeah, so I'm DLC in a game. That was pretty cool. I also got to check out another game I'm pretty hyped out that's coming out in a couple of weeks here, and that's Judgment, the spin-off of the Yakuza series.
Yeah.
Hype. Yeah, so I'm still looking forward to it. It was pretty cool. I only played it for a couple minutes. It wasn't like the area right inside the door, you figured it'd be like really busy, but actually you could get to quite a few games in there. It was cool. So I was kind of glad that everyone was just in that Nintendo line or the Final Fantasy VII line. So it made other games accessible. Checked out the Sega Mini. That was badass. Still getting one.
Was it fully loaded, or was it just a few games?
No, they had everything on there. There was little demo units to play it. There was another thing. I don't know if you saw John Riggs's video, but they had a giant Sega controller where you could play it on. I didn't play it on that. There was just like some chairs you could sit and play it. So I did it that way. But yeah, the big controller one was like the more popular one. People were like, it wasn't really a big line, but I was just like, I'll just sit and play some Sega for a few minutes. I only dabbled in it because I played a lot of the games, and I just wanted to see if it felt cheap or anything. But everything seems to be in order there, so I'm glad we're finally getting a good Sega clone console, not the AT Games crap.
Yeah.
I also checked out the Polymega for a few minutes. The system, the modular system we've talked about a few times on here.
And it sounds so cool. It's just so expensive for all the stuff.
Yeah, I'm really wanting it, especially for like the disc system stuff. But
well, now they got that light gun, and it's like, oh man, that could be the thing, because because kind of one of the challenges with all the light gun games is like
tube TV.
You need tube TV, and like in order to make something that works with HD TVs, like there's like more to it. Like gun that has to be able to read the HD TVs and transfer the signal, and like this sounds like this is going to be that solution.
but even then, when you have it all set up, like how many of these things are only usable for like 2-3 games? Like you can't take the gun con from like PS1 and use it with the PS2 games. Even like there'd be like 5 games altogether. And you're like,
yeah.
And then there was like Lethal Enforcers, where that was like only good with Lethal Enforcers,
right?
Shit like that. Like, yeah. How many games people just don't even want to pick up because the guns are hard to come by.
Yeah.
Like I still have no gun cons for anything. The closest thing to a gun con I have, besides obviously like the duck gun and the, that's what everyone calls it, and the Super Scope. All I have is the one for the Dreamcast, and I have exactly one game that plays with it. So I know there's more, but still, if I could have an all-in-one solution, like that might sell a system right there.
Yeah.
Like I didn't play really long on it because there was, there's other people wanting to try it and stuff. So I don't know. I guess I was real Canadian about it. It's like, I feel like an asshole playing this too long. So I just played it for a few minutes and then moved on. Guys like, oh yeah, you want to try this? And I was like, other people want to try it. So I just like, ducked out and stuff. But yeah, the gun was behind glass, so I didn't even get to hold it. But
yeah, I think the gun's still kind of like prototype.
Yeah, it's like a work in progress, and it definitely sounds cooler than the Hyperkin gun that only plays duck hunt.
Yeah, I mean that's it's still kind of cool, but yeah, it's just duck hunt. Duck hunt's not that great.
I didn't look at the price, but if it's anything like, I could just get a tube TV and play all the light gun games with my NES, that sounds like the cheaper solution.
Well, I mean, obviously that's going to be the cheaper solution. People give away tube TVs.
Yeah, so
that's how I got mine.
Exactly. That's how I got. That's how I got my my Sony one too. So, but yeah, it's. I'm not usually really stoked on those kind of games. The things like the Retrons and shit like that. I never cared about it. Especially when I've heard all the bad stuff about the Retron 5. Like I was kind of thinking like, it would be cool to have everything through HDMI, and
I still want one, honestly.
I can't. I've just heard about how garbage they are, and I'm just meh. If I don't know. Yeah, I think Polymega would be the way to go, but that price tag is gonna keep me waiting a while, I think. Yeah. But yeah, definitely something I'm looking forward to checking out more of as it comes out. Maybe they'll send me at least they had one I could play. Time to do some bashing of the Intellivision Amico, only behind closed doors bullshit. And when we were talking about it a couple podcasts ago, I was saying like, I think they'll probably be at E3 and I could try it at E3.
Yeah. And
then they announced we're gonna have it with like 27 games or something playable at E3, and I even wrote on the post like, hell yeah, can't wait to try it out. And he's like, oh man, appointments only behind closed doors. And I was like, then don't even announce it.
Yeah.
It honestly killed my hype for that system. Pretty much like full stop. I like kind of don't give a shit now.
Yeah, it's a bummer that was. I mean, I'm still pretty interested to see more, but yeah, it was
pretty shitty. If you got a thing playable, have it playable for everyone. Honestly, Polymega's still got a while to go before it comes out, but they had it on show.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was there was a bunch of other cool shit, but yeah, I was happy with pretty much everything I got to play. Like nothing felt crappy and just the photo ops everywhere were like probably one of the coolest things. Like they had,
a lot of really cool pictures you got.
They had Cloud's bike. They had the Mortal Kombat thing where they just took a picture of you holding like a skull or a limb or something, and they turned it into like a fatality screen. And I was like, that's my favorite thing. I got a picture of the whole time.
Yeah, totally.
There was just a bunch of those kind of things. Nothing really had too long of a line for that kind of stuff. So it seemed like the funnest things had the shortest line. So gotta love the Nintendo overhype kind of keeping everyone in those lines. I swear to God, half the people that were there were just in Nintendo lines.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised.
I mean, we did wait in a couple longer lines, but nothing too crazy.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was like, we're gonna go to Universal Studios, and I'm sure there'll be lots of line waiting there. I'm not really here to wait. I'm gonna take in all that I can, and yeah, we were like, we had pretty good first day, and then we're like, yeah, that was okay. Started off kind of meh, but the second day, I'd say, was the best day for us. We walked in, we went in the different entrance, so we could see more of the stuff we hadn't even like seen at all yet. And Extra Life had this thing called like a human claw machine, where they just put you in this like, it looked like roofer gear, that like the stuff so you don't fall off the roof, and then they just pick you up this crane and basically just dangle you above this giant tub of boxes, and you pick out a box, throw it to the guy, and there'd be a little certificate inside, and you could win anything from like some Funko Pops and stuff up to like a PS4 Pro or a Xbox One X or some games. So I did that. It was a lot of fun, actually. The line for that was like, it looked short, but since they had to put everyone in the gear, it actually took so long. I'm pretty sure like 2 hours we were in that line, so that sucked.
God damn.
But we got some pretty cool stuff out of it. My wife wasn't keen to like go up on the crane, but just because she stood in the line so long, they gave her a prize box to open anyway, because she was like, yeah, you've been in there. Like the guy was like, no, just sign one of these anyway. You don't have to do it. We'll give you one if you stand it, because it's going to take a while. So that guy was pretty cool. And she ended up getting the cooler stuff, so that was funny to me. But all in all, that was fun. You could it was for charity and stuff, and I'd raised money through Extra Life before, so that was cool. That's how I did my record the second time. Yeah, so that was cool. And then there was like the photo ops in that area were pretty cool too. They had Cloud's bike from Final Fantasy VII, the Hardy Daytona as it's called now. They had a Crash Nitro cart you could get a picture with. There was just a bunch of other stuff. You could play Crash Nitro Kart, but I was like, I don't really need a demo game that's coming out next week. I'm good. And then that's the day that we seemed to meet everyone cool that we met. I saw Metal Jesus and John Riggs leaving for lunch, actually, while we were in the line for that human crane. And I walked up and we talked for a few minutes.
They were super cool, it sounds like.
They were wicked cool, like super.
Not like, oh, who's this peasant talking?
Yeah, no, and they weren't like, I thought at something like E3, those guys would be getting like mobbed, but
yeah,
they just hung out. We talked for probably 5, almost 10 minutes, and it was all about video games. They started talking to Metal Jesus about Opeth and stuff, even.
Yeah. Represent. I mean, I know Riggs. He's a cool guy. Like we've had conversations in the past and whatnot.
He's a yeah.
And Metal Jesus. Like, I mean, he always seems like a cool guy too. I just don't know him personally or anything.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those people where you're like, oh, he seems like he'd be cool, and you meet him, and he's just like a stuck-up dick. He was a wicked nice guy. And then we bumped into him like later on the floor, and we talked some more too. So it was cool. It was really cool. Yeah, it was actually like a couple of the coolest guys I met the whole time. We met the executive producer of Street Fighter. He signed a Street Fighter V poster that we both now have one of.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, and what else have we met? I met Tim Schafer on the third day from Double Fine.
It's pretty cool.
Which is cool. I'm a big Double Fine fan. I played pretty much all the games that they've put out. I actually ended up playing Brutal Legend online with him before Brutal Legend launched, thanks to my wife being the manager of a video store and get me an early copy. And he actually he either is a really good actor, or he actually pretty much remembered that, because he was like, oh yeah, because he was talking on the headset, and he was like, oh yeah, so we're what do you write for, or website or a magazine or whatever. And I'm like, nah, man, I just like playing this game. My wife works at a video store. He's like, oh, really? He's like an actual fan? So I get some actual feedback rather than some guy who's just paid to play my shit. And I was like, yeah. So he's just like, I think I remember that. He's like, because yeah, it was like really refreshing to talk to someone who wasn't just like has to play your game and could give less of a shit. And I was like, right on. So yeah, whether he did or didn't, he was pretty cool. But
Yeah,
he remembered. So that was cool because we actually just on the third day we kind of had seen pretty much everything, and there's no special events that I really knew about going on. So wife was kind of tired of walking around there, and I was like, I want to dip in and get some stuff. I actually didn't really spend any money day one or day two, like not even on something to eat or drink. We just like ate a big breakfast and then walked around all day and then ate a big supper.
yeah.
But
I think it's worth mentioning too that the conferences aren't open to the public.
Yeah, that was going to be my negatives section. I didn't want to be all negative, but there's the clear class system. Like when we booked ahead of time, my conception of what E3 was a lot different than what it actually was when I got there. As I've always been like, oh man, it would be so cool to be there, like, and just be part of that hype when a new game gets announced, when a new console gets announced, and all this. And when we booked everything, it was before Sony was like, nah, fuck that. We're not going to go there this year.
Yeah.
So that was a big blow. Like, oh, of course, the year I go, PlayStation's just like, nah, bud. And then, a couple of weeks before they started announcing like when the conferences are, and I know that we're going Tuesday to the Thursday. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm so stoked. And all of a sudden I hear Xbox is doing theirs on Sunday. And Bethesda's doing theirs on Sunday. I'm like, all right. There's still a couple I can check out, Square Enix. And Square Enix is doing theirs Monday. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And then after finding out all that, you have to be invited, you have to have an appointment, shit. I'm like, that's all it would have been to try to get into one of those anyway. So I was like, that's what I thought I was buying tickets to. And completely, I was really like down about it, especially with the hotel thing and all that. And then like the first few things that first night, I'm like, man, like what am I even gonna go see tomorrow? I'm just gonna go play some games a couple months early. That's not worth several $1,000s that I paid to go on this trip. But it ended up being a lot more fun despite that. But at least they had the E3 Coliseum, which was like a separate building outside of the convention center, where they had a couple of cool things. They had, we went to Jablinski Games, had actually a live panel on there for an hour. So we got
Jack Black.
Yeah, Jack Black
on YouTube.
Yeah, Jack Black was hilarious. His son was kind of annoying, but whatever. And then directly following that, Double Fine had like a Psychonauts 2 panel, and Jack Black is in that game. So he was on that one too. So that one was way more enjoyable. They just talked about meeting each other and how he was a fan of Double Fine games before. And then they asked like, hey, do you want to maybe be Brutal Legend? And he's like, hell yeah. Jack Blackish style.
Yeah.
And then they showed this video. You find it on YouTube, I'm sure, but it was like showing him like in the booth recording this thing where he had to like sing this word, and it was a hard word to sing for a long time. So it was like for a few minutes, it was him just trying to sing the word bad for a long time, like a long-winded, and it became like. I don't know how it's not a meme, because it's like a meme to me, but it's like an inside joke with myself and my wife almost. Versus him going bad. Like I was like, man, I'm gonna use a cut of that, and it's gonna be like a cutaway thing for talking about my first day's experience. And it was really cool. It was one of the highlights, and that was actually the day of my wife and I's anniversary. So I'm like, we got to see Jack Black on our anniversary. That was fucking cool.
Yeah,
we were hoping to meet him, but I don't know, we didn't get to. That kind of sucked. We waited around the area. We didn't like creep out or anything, but So that was we didn't get to meet him, but we met some other cool people. But yeah, that was the closest to like a conference we got to go to. So I'm like, people at home are getting more of an E3 experience than me. I'm actually at E3, and I'm like, oh, what got announced this morning? I don't know because I didn't get to watch it.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer because
you're like trying to tell me about like the Square one, and I'm just like trying to catch up with it on my phone. I'm like, yeah, I just saw that. Yeah, you saw this 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I was like freaking out about.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm like getting to your house and you'd already like half watched the Xbox one, and you're gracious enough to start it over so we could actually watch it myself. And I was like, man, I don't know about this. I was actually feeling really iffy before we even left. Like, yeah, I really hope I'm not disappointed because like this is something I've wanted to do since I was like 10 years old. But
yeah,
it's not something I don't know if I'd do it again.
Mm.
I probably would if I could get a media badge or a influencer badge. So I need to get on getting those subscribers up. Apparently,
gotta know somebody.
I gotta know guys who know guys.
You know some guys now.
I do know some guys.
Yeah, you should.
I'll
just contacts.
Yeah, next year I'll just show the picture of me and Metal Jesus and John Riggs. I'm like, oh yeah, these are my buddies. Just tell them Metal Jesus is my dad or something.
Look at our hair.
Yeah, we're obviously related. So, I'm looking for my dad. He's in there somewhere. He's in the Cyberpunk thing. Yeah, I know he's there. His phone
died. Yeah, cool. So, should we talk about the
actual games?
E3 conferences? I think we won't necessarily touch on everything that I put down here.
Obviously Nintendo won E3, right?
Well, we'll just kind of go in order. So on this list, in the first presentation for E3 was EA's, and on my list here I put nothing because I don't care about anything that they showed.
Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Star Wars. I only put stuff that wasn't announced yet on this list, so I didn't.
What was the first anything at all that was shown about it? So
gameplay that was shown. We had a trailer previously.
What was that trailer? A trailer saying that they were making it?
There's a trailer.
That doesn't matter. Did they different? If we're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII, we can talk about Star Wars.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it looks good. I'm not really worried about it. A lot of people are worried just because it's EA.
Well, they're saying no loot boxes, no microtransactions.
So that's all I need to hear. Honestly,
we'll see if they actually stick with that.
They're just gonna come.
They're not gonna be loot boxes. They're gonna be
a new synonym.
Yeah, they're just gonna rename it.
These
are Jedi box.
Premium Force pouches.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they'll be just I don't know. Pay as you go kyber crystals.
Yeah, not to go really off topic here, but like today, the time of recording this podcast, apparently there's EA representatives in the UK right now today they were doing a presentation in front of the Parliament, trying to tell them why loot boxes weren't predatory and scams, and they were using like other names like, oh, they're surprise packages and just spewing bullshit.
I mean, if I use my credit card in a game and like a retro game treasure showed up at my house, that'd be one thing. But yeah, it's not that shit. You call it a surprise box. Surprise. Your dad's going to be mad when he finds out you stole his credit card. It's a surprise for my dad. Yeah, I was just trying to get him a good Father's Day gift.
Yeah. So, yeah, EA, Star Wars.
Yeah, I didn't see much else that really stuck with me. But,
yeah, so...
I mean, there's some cool stuff. I just honestly don't... I kind of skimmed that. That's the only conference I think I didn't actually watch all of the EA and the Ubisoft ones.
Yeah.
But I just kind of that's the only ones I kind of watched, like little summary of what it was. Usually I watch all of them. It doesn't matter. I'll even watch the PC one, even though I don't PC game and stuff. And
Yeah. I just EA stuff. I was just like,
I don't care. I like video games, so I watch all of them. I watched last year for our E3 episode. I extensively watched everything and had like this crazy list and shit. And then my internet shit the bed, and then I didn't even get to be part of it. I was like, okay, I guess go on without me.
All right. Well, unlike EA, and even though I don't have an Xbox, Microsoft's press conference I thought was awesome. A lot of really cool announcements.
I mean, if all it was Keanu Reeves on stage, it would have been fucking top 3. That shit was tight. I mean, everyone's talking about that, so we don't need to go elaborate on that at all. But besides that, they announced like probably half the games that I gave a shit about at E3, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff.
Battletoads, everyone's ripping on the art style. Honestly. It doesn't bother me at all.
It doesn't bother me a ton, but it does bother me a little. Battletoads, I would want.
They're already like
like a little like edgier, I guess.
You were wanting like a Battletoads gritty reboot?
Not even like gritty. It's just I don't know. The 90s feel and this feel are definitely like two different audiences.
Yeah.
I kind of feel.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't offend me to the amount of when they redesigned the Ninja Turtles. Like the latest redesign of the Ninja Turtles is like, I'm not even letting my kids know that exists. I gave like the whatever 2014, 2013, whatever one. I gave that at first I was like, and then I watched it. I'm like, that show's actually good. I'm not even trying that shit out. So it doesn't offend me to that level. And I mean, they were always like, it was always like a slapstick game and shit. And this looks like slapstick animation. So I'm like, as long as it plays all right, I'll be. I love my beat 'em ups. I'm gonna check it out.
How it works out.
Check it out.
One of the ones that I was really stoked to see something about was Elden Ring, the collaborative project between From Software, Miyazaki, and George R.R. Martin, who's like consulting and helping with like lore and stuff like that. Sweet. They didn't really show much. It was just a cinematic trailer, unfortunately, but
they can't show too much frontal male nudity in the trailer, so which George R. R. Martin
not as Butters on South Park says, it's soft dicks next to hard dicks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty stoked for that. One game that really has my interest peaked that I didn't expect. It's like it seems really weird to even try to push this franchise is the Blair Witch game.
Yeah, it was almost like a tacked on. It felt like they just tacked on for like name recognition because the game looked awesome, and then Blair Witch, and it was like,
yeah,
it was like almost like a bad M. Night Shyamalan twist ending. You're like, ooh, this looks cool. What's it? And then you're like, oh, okay.
I mean, I personally I like the original Blair Witch.
Yeah, it was fine, but I didn't ever go, fuck, this needs a video game.
Right.
I've never
seen that. That's sweet.
And all of Chris the Old Ass Retro Gamers movies that need games videos and so vice versa. I've never seen someone say Blair Witch needed a goddamn game.
Well, we all dropped the ball apparently.
Yeah.
This does look sweet.
Yeah, I'm definitely got my interest peaked in checking it out. But yeah, it was very odd name placement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I own a Paranormal Activity game for the VR, and I have no interest in watching any of those movies because they just look like date movie.
The first movie was okay. The first movie I actually enjoyed.
I can't even bring myself to try and watch those movies. I just see the commercial and I just cringe.
Society has ruined them.
And on the way that, I mean, anything that's even slightly decent. I'm sure the first one's halfway decent.
Yeah, it is.
But because any horror franchise where it's even halfway decent, look at Saw. What's the next one? Saw 8? Shit like that, we're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Shit like that, where, so Paranormal Activity can have a game. Blair Witch can definitely have a game. That's
Totally.
basically what I was getting at. I was stoked to see a new Tales of game coming out.
Yeah, it looks sweet.
Tales
It's not
of
Berseria 2, unfortunately, which I really was hoping for because they did
Yeah.
Azalea 2.
I want to see more of Velvet Crow's some kind of story. I don't know. I mean, the way it ended, it kind of just like ended.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they'd even do it too, but it was a pretty satisfying ending. So in a way, I can let it go. But,
Right.
But I'm a big fan of that series. It's probably my favorite RPG series. I think. Thinking back, it's up there. It's top 2. So yeah, I'm always looking forward to another one of those games coming out, as long as it's not a mobile or some other bullshit game that all the other front.
There is a Tales of mobile game.
There is, but I don't have to give a fuck about it. But I mean, like, you know, they do like a big reveal at these kind of things, and you're like, why? I don't care. Just, I don't know. I'm talking about good franchises with their mobile game acting like it's a huge release. Looking at BlizzCon last year.
Yeah.
I always like to bring that up.
Yeah. Well,
Phantasy Star Online 2 looks pretty awesome too. As much as I'm not into MMOs, I did play quite a lot of the first one, the offline part, and I like the Phantasy Star series, so that was kind of cool to see that get announced.
Yeah.
I might check it out at some point, but you know, those are the kind of game I don't get too deep into those. Like I even tried Neverwinter. I played quite a lot of it, and then I just can drop those things cold turkey when it starts to get grindy or boring. Like I got to a part where it's like, feels like it's gonna try and make me be in a guild or something. So fuck it, and I just stopped, just dropped it, and went on to the next thing. But
how about that fully backwards compatible Project Scarlet announcement?
Ooh, got me
Sounds pretty cool.
Got me right in the Johanssons, bud.
Yeah. So the next Xbox they're saying is going to be full backwards compatible with the one, the 360, and the OG.
Oh yeah, bud.
So that's pretty cool.
That's a cool thought, I guess.
I mean, here's hoping Sony does it.
You know my stance on it anyway. That I'm not going to use it really.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's a cool feature.
It's a big encouragement for me to actually like bother with a lot of Xbox games that have been collecting dust in my collection for a while now.
Hey man, I've tried. I've tried saying, come on, just use your free month Xbox Live. We can play a bunch of cool shit together. Open invitation.
Yeah.
There's a couple other pretty decent games, but
Xbox or Microsoft really, I think they did a good job this year.
Followed by one I found pretty cringy.
Just boring.
Well, it's all thanks to you type. There's three or four of those like 4 or 5 minute videos about how it's all because thanks to the fans, and then people showing how much they appreciate it. Like it's basically them like sucking their own dicks.
Yeah.
I didn't get into it. And then they didn't really announce anything except for like 3 games.
Yeah. And we're talking about Bethesda.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not as harsh on Bethesda. Of course, we both played Fallout 76.
No, I'm just harshing on their conference. I'm not. I'm wearing a fucking Bethesda shirt right now, so I'm obviously not dogging them. But yeah, their conference was bunk. It was all like add-ons for shit that's already out. Talking about shit that we already know is coming out. We already know Doom's coming out, and Doom still looks fucking sexy. But yeah. But the highlight of their conference for me was definitely Ghostwire Tokyo. That game.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to see more on this game. That was
and Deathloop. I think could be pretty interesting.
Deathloop was pretty sweet too.
Deathloop got me really interested because Arcane, and I love Arcane's games. Dishonored, Dark Messiah, like that's
man. Oh yeah, I'm into it. I'm with it. But Ghostwire Tokyo is fucking spooky. So I want it.
Yeah.
That chick's got to be a DLC character or something in that game because she made that announcement.
Yeah, well, she's like one of the E3 winners, voted by her and Keanu. Like they won E3.
I mean, Keanu's single. They could be an item now.
Yeah.
They're like the prom king and queen of E3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very great. And
yeah, usually when someone comes out and there's that language barrier, it's more like cringy. Like you feel bad for them. Like they're just so hype about their game, but you can't understand them a lot of the time. Sometimes, not always, but yeah. So that was cool. That it was more, because it's always in those like fail videos. You're like, oh, right on. One that's not for the fail. Fail video. I didn't watch much of the PC gaming thing either, but Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it gets console release since 1 and 2 are getting one. I don't think they've out and said it yet, but I'm holding out hope I can add it to my collection.
Yeah, and then there's I just wanted to give a shout out. There's another game that was shown during that time called Brave Earth Prologue, which is essentially an 8/16-bit Castlevania-like game. Another Metroidvania, like pixel art inspired. Check it out. Looks cool, folks. Thumbs up.
But if it's PC only, thumbs down.
It'll probably be multi-platform, I'm sure, but it was just
thumbs down.
Typically, indie games hit PC first.
Yeah, and if they get the game traction, then they get the money. They get that PC money, and then they can downgrade it for the console peasants.
Yeah, and then we had Ubisoft. I'm not as jazzed about a lot of Ubisoft stuff these days.
Yeah, take it or leave it. I haven't played a lot of the Watch Dogs game, but Legion looks different, at least, and like kind of cool.
Well, everyone said Watch Dogs 2 was really cool, was a big improvement over the first, and I
own it, but I haven't.
I played the first one. It wasn't as good as they were selling it, of course, as everybody knows. But I had fun. It had its moments, but I just never continued on with the series.
Yeah, like I don't know, there was some kind of like price glitch at Walmart or something because it ended up going like stupid cheap when it was only a few weeks old, and I was like, yeah, sure. And I don't think I finished the first one. I enjoyed it to a point, but I don't know. I squirreled and I saw a game that got my attention more and just kind of didn't go back.
Yeah. I will say Gods and Monsters looked really cool.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't show us a whole lot, kind of get, it looks like open world, maybe taking some inspiration from. A lot of people are comparing it to Breath of the Wild just because the art style is kind of like has that cartoony look to it.
But it looked almost like more like a Monster World.
Yeah.
Monster World, Breath of the Wild graphics.
So we'll see. That could be really cool.
Yeah. And then we got another disappointing one following that.
Jesus. Square Enix, what you doing to my heart?
Mm-hmm.
You're making it so big.
Palpitations.
Of course, yeah. Square Enix, Final Fantasy VII. They dropped the hot new Final Fantasy VII remake trailer. Finally got some of that, good. They gave us like a good look at some gameplay. They gave us expanded look at some of the characters. Finally showed off Tifa. Finally showed off Sephiroth.
Hell
yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do it for 10 more minutes. Just pretend we did.
Of course, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm not like a Final Fantasy VII fanboy. Like I do love the game.
I don't
think it's the greatest game ever made, but I love the game. I'm super excited for the remake.
Me too.
I like collector's editions. As soon as I saw that they're like, "Yep, here it is," I was like, "Ordered."
I'm trying. I'm hoping to acquire one and somehow too.
Trying to make it happen. We're working on it.
We're gonna get that happen. That Play Arts figure is so much cooler especially when I found out it was like not just like a statue. It's actually
Yeah.
the posable figure, and I thought it'd be like a statue, but his like arms would be movable maybe and a little bit, but I thought he'd be like fixed on there. But it's totally detachable, and I don't know. It's one of the cooler collector's editions out of it. Anything that was announced. I'd say rivaled only by Cyberpunk's, because Cyberpunk's looks super badass.
Yeah.
But good luck getting it.
Well, tomorrow at the time of recording this, I'm not sure when people will be listening to this, but tomorrow they're posting the PC version finally, and for me, that's the one I want. Got a timer set on my phone to remind me. It's like, oh,
yuck.
Time to order my PC Collector's Edition. So what else? Also, Trials of Mana, which was like, they started showing the trailer. They didn't show a title or anything, and it was like within like 10 seconds, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Seiken
Densetsu 3. I just played this last year.
Yeah, it's such a fun game. So it's cool like a full remake, like Secret of Mana style. So
yeah, it looks like they're even going a little further with it.
Yeah, good. And yeah, like another thing that they said about Final Fantasy, they kind of like gave a bit more info on that they're still doing the episodic thing, but they're expanding some side story stuff and everything. So
yeah, they're trying to give us a robust experience, even if they're
a lot of meat on that bone.
Yeah,
a lot of meat on my bones. Yeah, so yeah, I didn't mean to jump back to that, but when you said they expanded on it a bit, so that's always a good thing. And then speaking of things, wasn't I just saying like a couple podcasts ago how they need to release the Mana collection, like North America, like just hurry up and translate that shit and put it in my mouth.
And I was also agreeing with you about that.
Yeah.
And
look who we did. Look who
there it is.
You're welcome, everybody. My idea has come to fruition.
I mean, I have all 3 games.
Yeah.
At this point, but I want the collection still.
I still want it. You got to get to go with that collection. You got to get that Switch. Maybe you'll win that limited run giveaway.
Maybe.
Did you enter it?
I think so.
Yeah. Comes with a Switch and 10 games. One you already have like 4 copies of.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to mention the name of the subtitle, but I think everyone here probably knows already.
Yeah.
So a lot of good.
Speaking of Switch, fucking Nintendo. The obvious, according to everybody, besides me and a few people, the winners of E3, which I disagree. But they had a pretty awesome presentation nonetheless.
Well, all their stuff that was super hype was all like Square characters anyway. Oh my god! Besides Banjo-Kazooie, they got all the Dragon Quest characters in Smash.
I don't care about. It's like, come on, like
I don't.
People are getting hyped for DLC characters in the game. Like this is a chunk of your E3 presentation.
Yeah, at least they didn't have like a side, like hour-and-a-half thing following their thing on Treehouse, like all about the Smash characters this year. That I know of.
Do you gotta pay for those?
What?
The characters in Smash?
Probably, yeah, sure. No, I don't.
It's okay if Nintendo does it.
I don't think they're as expensive as like Mortal Kombat and shit when they add characters, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to
added a fuck ton of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the fuck ton of characters there already was in this game.
Yeah.
They're just like not going to stop till every character is in it that's ever been in any game.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It is what it is. Like that's what I meant. They had their hands in everything, and then they had Dragon Quest XI had a pretty extended trailer on there. They announced the Mana collection.
Well, I mean the big stuff though.
Trials of Mana is all.
Of course, was Breath of the Wild 2 teaser.
I love my Zelda, and I honestly don't give a fuck. Say basically like 30 seconds and just saying, well, yeah, I'm not
They cheated.
Okay, what I'm saying, they're just in there making it.
Yeah, they cheated, and they shouldn't get a pass for that because
at least it showed something besides a fucking Metroid Prime 4 thing. That's what they did for their announcement. Yeah. Metroid Prime 4 is in.
People are like, oh,
at least they had
E3.
At least they had a little bit
again.
At least they had a slight bit of a teaser to show.
So innovative.
So wow.
Nintendo wins E3.
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely going to be hyped when it's actually coming out.
Yeah. And of course, they showed us more stuff.
They're like, oh, thank you. This is the end. You're like, no, it's not an end. Show the Zelda game. Because if it goes by and they haven't showed a Zelda thing yet, they're going to show a Zelda thing. Come on, Nintendo. Well,
they have the Link's Awakening remake too, of course.
Yeah, but we already know about that.
Yeah,
it's close to coming out, so they were like, they got to do another Zelda thing. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
pretty cool. But I was more hyped, honestly, about the new Contra than that. So
I'm not as jazzed on the new Contra.
The characters are like super over the top out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's looking a little goofy.
It reminds me of like the Arrow Fighters games, where the first like 2 games there's just like a couple, or maybe it's just the first game. It's just pilots. Then like the second and third one, there's like a dolphin pilot and shit, and you're like, what the Japan? What are you doing? So I don't even know, but I don't give a shit because I love Contra, so I'm gonna check it out anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna play the panda guy, but it's fucking weird that he's an option.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not jazzed about all of it, but I'm jazzed that they're actually doing something with Contra.
Yeah. So let's go. But ultimately, like all in all, I didn't get to go to E3, but I was pretty happy with E3 in total. Like those, for me, it's always like an exciting time of the year. There's a lot of people that were kind of like just ripping everything in general. I mean, a lot of people were saying like Square Enix and Nintendo like kicked ass. A lot of Microsoft too.
Yeah,
they did a pretty good job. A lot of cool announcements. A lot of weird still like.
I'm not sure if it wasn't there, but I was really bummed that a couple of games were just completely missing that I didn't even see on the floor anywhere. The games that are coming out like kind of soon and shit. Like I didn't see Streets of Rage 4. I would have stood in line to play.
Yeah.
I did not see Streets of Rage. I'm not saying it wasn't there, but I definitely didn't see it anywhere. So that sucks. So, yeah, those. I was going there. I was thinking I want to play some of that Trails of Cold Steel 3. I want to play some Streets of Rage 4. I had a couple others I kind of wanted to play. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, then.
About but there's a bunch of people saying that like E3 is dead. It's going to be because in an age where you can just do a direct or a state of play or whatever inside Xbox, whatever the fuck they call their thing, or all that. You can just do a Twitter announcement. You can just do a Facebook announcement. People are saying it's dead. I'm like, I don't know, man. You still need kind of like a hub for the hype, like something to look forward to.
Yeah, and
like the Game Awards, I don't give a shit who wins these awards.
Yeah. Well, we do have other conferences like Tokyo Game Show and PSX.
Yeah, so how come no one's all like, yeah, that shit's dead? PSX is dead,
E3.
Just E3 is irrelevant out of nowhere?
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say anything like any of those others is bullshit just because it's the older one. Like, I don't know. I saw a couple guys there, so I think it's going to be fine for next year at least.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and we threw that out as our community question for last week, and looked like back in the day Gamer wanted to participate, but he says he listened to the whole episode and missed the community question. So,
oh shit!
Don't know what to tell you, man. We do post them in the. I do put the community question in the description in case you miss it. So heads up, folks. But we did get a comment from Black Metal Gamer, and he said E3 is still relevant, but on a much smaller scale. Doing your own conference live on the internet is the now, and going forward, E3 may die before 2023. Now, I don't know if it'll ever die completely, but we'll definitely. I think it's very likely that we will see it maybe downsizing because everybody's kind of doing their own.
Well, apparently they were talking about this being like the last. This could potentially be the last year for LA.
Well, they already announced E3 next year.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I mean,
at least for next year.
The area seemed to have a pretty good like accommodation for it. Like I thought it was at the Staples Center. Like I thought the Staples Center was just E3. Staples Center was fucking closed, and then there's this giant thing next to it that's like the conference center. That was the actual E3, and then like all the Microsoft stuff was in the separate building. There's actually a Microsoft theater that they had all that stuff in, and you could go. You could go out. It was basically just like walking down the sidewalk and go to there and check their shit out. But you waited in line to basically go in where their conference is and sit in chairs and wait to go up on a stage to play these games. And they didn't have anything I was like really hyped to play. Like I love my Gears. I'm not that jazzed about Gears 5. Like, I don't know. I don't really care about the story in these ones. Like the 4 it was fun to play through, but I barely remember the story and I don't really care about it. And I honestly was just playing through it again with my friend like a month ago. I don't know. Since like it's like the next generation now.
Yeah.
And, you know, usually that next generation shit doesn't really work in anything but Star Trek. I find usually you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm supposed to care. Yeah. They're gonna have one of the older original characters will like tag along to keep people trying to care. Yeah, that's probably out of like all, you know, I might have wanted to check out Battletoads, but yeah, their line was pretty massive and it was like outside, and I ain't with that.
Yeah,
it was pretty decent weather there, but I wasn't gonna sweat it out to play any of the games that, you know, potentially were there. I can wait on Gears.
Yeah. So then for next week, community question for next week, something that I wanted to know, besides like the big games announced, you know, your Final Fantasy VIIs, your Breath of the Wild, Cyberpunk, so on and so forth. What are some other games that were announced that you're excited for?
Yeah. Let
me know.
Or games that were even just like elaborated on, like Avengers and shit like that. Like it wasn't announced. Like we've known it was announced. What, like Game Award? Was it Game Awards or what?
Yes.
Yeah, and then we just haven't heard shit all about it. And then it was basically like they announced it at E3. We didn't even talk about that when we were talking about the Square conference. But yeah, that was one of the ones I was pretty big about. They had a pretty cool setup for it. It looked like almost like a shield helicarrier or something, or like some installation, like a bunker. And you could go in and like watch like an extended thing, and you got a little dossier for going in there. But the day that we were like kind of going in the lines and shit, they didn't have it set up. It was going to be like the next day you could do it. And that's regrettably, I think that's like the one thing I would have stood in. You basically stood in a queue. They like, you know, once it filled up, you had to wait till the next one. But it was like every half hour they let a big group in. Yeah, watch this thing. And the only other thing that had something set up cool like that, like as like a, you know, looking like a different building, was the Final Fantasy VII one. Was set up to look like the factory or whatever, so that was kind of cool too.
Cool. So yeah, let us know what stuff you are stoked for that was announced.
Definitely.
So, then just for the sake of time here, I know we're running long. Just kind of breeze through upcoming games. Just throw out some of the notable ones here. Cadence of Hyrule, I know some people are pretty excited about, which is
I'm hoping it's like a physical.
Yeah, spin-off of Crypta the Necrodancer game. Steam just got Blaster Master Zero, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I believe there's I think Limited Run's doing a physical. They announced
Of Cadence of Hyrule?
Blaster Master Zero.
Oh, sweet.
Then, of course, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is now available, so get that.
Eat it. Eat it up.
We got Judgment, as you mentioned, coming up here next week, I think.
All I want to know is when's Bloodstained 2 coming out? Like, for fuck's sake. Can we just get that already?
Right.
I might be picking up that Contra collection that came out. I mean, I know it's digital only, but I'm loving my Castlevania collection, and they just added a free update that gave you the Japanese versions of all the games. So,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I know we're not fans of the digital shit here, but
yeah.
On this Crash Team Racing Nitro Field, which I'll be picking up at some point. I'll probably let it go cheap, but Crash Bandicoot was a nice guy to me at E3. They were filming something, like right when he got there. I must have just saw him, and there's a thing where they film him going up an escalator, and then right at the top of the escalator, like I met him, and then all of a sudden, like it cuts from him at the top of the escalator to like him on the floor with his like megaphone, like he did in the old, like all the old commercials where he'd just go and like chirp at someone or yell at something at somebody. And I'm like, I was right there. So that was kind of funny. I watched it with my wife earlier and we were laughing about it. I don't know, but I like the first one. Did you ever play the old one?
No.
But I don't know. I don't really like racing games, but I'm a sucker for the kart racing game.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good. I got nothing against it.
Racist. Yeah. Besides that, nothing that nothing else that really of note that's coming out.
Yeah. So then, as we're wrapping things up here, what you got going on in the next couple weeks?
So much video shit, dude. Yeah, I'm resuming with the top 3 Tuesday videos. I got a couple unboxings I filmed. I got a big surprise coming on my channel pretty soon. I'm excited about that. Of course, I'm working on my E3 video right now. Hoping to have it up. So check out, watch that shit.
Yeah.
And we might have a super special surprise for the next podcast even. So I'm working on that. We'll see.
Yeah.
What do you got going on?
Me will be Bloodstained for sure. I'm hoping it's been a couple extra weeks since I put out a video, so I'm hoping to get another video here. Most likely it'll be a pickup video.
That's where we get that worthlessly lazy part.
Yeah.
and by me working on video stuff, I mean I'm gonna really try, but I'm probably just gonna play Bloodstained.
Yeah.
So my E3 video should be up by next E3. But
yeah. So I don't know. I might do like another live pickup video. We'll see what happens. But once I finish Bloodstained, I'm not really sure what I'll play after that. So we shall see.
I'll be going through Blood and Truth for sure.
Yeah.
And Trover.
Yes.
I need to get back to my VR binge I was doing. Blood and Truth, though, I think I'm going to be playing first. I don't know. I need it.
Do it. So then, for anybody who is listening and doesn't know how to get a hold of us, who wants to get a hold of us, of course, the podcast is available on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, and podcast apps if you use them. If you want to get a hold of me, you can look me up on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just look up the Game Grinder and you will find me. And if you want to get a hold of Jason, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, Corpse Flood Gaming.
I'm there.
Hit him up.
I'm willing to chat.
Yeah. So,
pick up the phone. Just kidding. Look at those late night freaking commercials.
Right? 900 Game Tenants.
With tenant to all your needs.
$3.99 a minute.
What? You're getting paid? Shit.
Shit. So, I think that is going to do it for this episode of the Game Tenants Podcast. Hit us up, answer those community questions, and we will talk to you next time.
Mwah. Bye.